podcast part, Memories of Holdenshire. My name is Mercury. A few days ago, 3 strangers and I woke up in a crypt with no memory of where we'd been or what we'd been doing for the past month. On the recommendation of a halfling named Belton, we visited a friendly old woman in the weirwood named Granny Appleseed. She's baked us a pie. She explained that it would help restore our missing memories. Gwyven gobbled one down and immediately fell unconscious.
How long will he be asleep for?
About an hour or so.
Oh, all right.
Right.
Yeah, he should wake up. He should feel right as rain.
Can I insight check her?
Absolutely.
Did she kill him?
Yep. I mean, she definitely didn't kill him because you can hear him snoring, so he's asleep.
Right.
So
Yeah. But, has she harmed him? Has she lied about him being okay? I did get a 7, so I probably don't know that at all.
it's hard to tell.
Well, he seems okay. I'm just going to preemptively lie down a little bit in a comfortable position, and then I'm going to finally eat some of this pie, which looks delicious.
Yes, well bethought. I make sure I'm in a comfortable position first, and I will also eat some pie.
And just like Gwyven, it's an amazing taste and absolutely delectable. And just chewing it, you don't want to stop. And your eyes grow heavy. It's like the most amazing Thanksgiving dinner that you've ever had.
Oh, yeah. I'm so hungry right now.
Out you go, like lights. Talingbet does the same. So the 4 of you begin to have your short rest, shall we call it,
Yeah.
in the pantry. I'm sorry, did I say pantry? I meant to say in the living room of Granny Appleseed.
Hanging upside down in the larder.
Skinless. Each of you awaken almost at the exact same time, bleary-eyed, and Granny Appleseed is sitting there at the table, and she says, welcome back, how do you feel? None of the 4 of you remember anything different.
Oh, no. Well, that pie was extraordinary, so at least there's that.
Well, wait a second. It's not just the pie. You have to do a little work yourself, dearie.
Oh,
As I said, I create the lock and the key. It's up to you to do the actual unlocking. The best way to do that is to go back to where it all seemingly began.
Hengisbury.
That's right. Hengisbury is just a skip and a hop away.
Good, that's a relief, because for a moment I thought you were telling us to go back down the well in Northminster Abbey.
That's what I thought.
No.
No, Hengistbury, yeah.
Yeah, Hengisbury, because that's the last place we remember being.
Exactly.
Hengistbury.
Hopefully spending some time in town will ultimately jog your memories and maybe find out why you ended up in a cult.
Thank you so much for your help.
Nice place, is it, Hengisbury? Any, advice?
You know, the people well-meaning, as far as I know. But since you were such nice company and such nice people, I'd like to give you some parting gifts if you decide to leave now, that is.
And she turns to the table that she's been sitting at, and on that table, you see a bowl, a slip of parchment, and an earring, as well as several pies.
This is extraordinarily generous of you.
Oh, no, it's worth nothing. Just pick 2 out of the 3. You can't leave me with nothing.
Oh, we would never do that.
Can you tell us a little bit about these objects?
Granny Appleseed, signature pastries. I call them gasps. It's nice, get it, G-A-S. Anyhow, they're really nice. They're special in that they never expire, and it can help you remove certain bad things that happen to you
Oh.
if you eat them, if you take them right before you go to sleep.
Lovely.
So 1 for each of you.
She points at the bowl.
This is one of my favourite bowls, but I don't find much use in it anymore. It's a dream scrying bowl.
You see that this bowl has like a glossy black band around the rim. It's made out of like a nice terracotta, and it's about the size of like a nightstand wash bowl. And much of it is covered in geometric shapes.
If you fill this bowl with holy water, the reflection on its surface portrays your most recent dream, or the dream of any sleeping person or creature within your reach.
And the earring?
This is a gossip earring.
And she picks up the earring by the end and she says,
The days of wondering what the socialites across the room and chatting about have come to an end.
she shows you this brass earring sculpted in the shape of whispering maidens.
You have to sort of get used to it. You have to get used to it for about an hour or so, and then, in wee magic-y folks' words, attune to it. And whenever a creature says your name within 100 feet, the earring will transmit those creatures' words as a whisper into your ears until it's gone probably a minute without saying your name.
Wow.
Oh, it's handy.
And finally, she picks up the piece of parchment and she says,
It has a magically bound name upon it, and that name is Agnes Knitworthy.
and you see the name Agnes Knitworthy in the middle of the parchment, surrounded by all kinds of weird occult symbols and what seem to be raven feathers.
She says, this is another one that requires attunement, and you can invoke the name Agnes Knitworthy to summon a vision of a very powerful and ancient being, definitely on your side, beside you for 1 minute. Good friend of mine, Agnes. I would say she's kind of a little aloof, but she does like the young and somewhat incompetent folks, so take that as you will.
Yes, tick that box.
It's very impressive. I'll tell you what, friends, since Granny Appleseed is generously offering us 2 out of these 3, I mean, my vote, the Agnes that's a definite keeper. The Agnes note.
Yes, I think
The
that's
last one.
great.
Agreed.
Between the other 2, I'm sort of leaning towards the earring, but
yes.
what do you think, Gwyven?
Oh, the earring. Yes, the earring.
I suppose we have a consensus then.
Talingbet sort of scratches his head. Okay, well, yeah, I guess the parchment and the earring?
Yes.
Okay, so do we want to, who wants what here?
I don't mind who has it, but being of a magical persuasion, I wouldn't mind holding on to Agnes for a bit, but open to suggestions?
That's fair enough. Would you like the earring, Gwyven?
Yes, I think I would. Yes.
All right, here you go.
I'm quite famous.
Yes. Yes, you are.
People talk about me a lot.
We each get, it's a tin of her.
Yeah, her gasps. Granny Appleseed's signature pastries.
Nice.
I love Granny Appleseed.
I must say, madam, this visit has been all we could have expected and more.
Oh, perhaps you'll drop by again sometime.
Perhaps after we've turned the key, so to speak.
Oh, yes, of course. Our adventure awaits then. Good luck.
Thank you. If you wouldn't mind just pointing us in the direction of Hengisbury.
It's just that way. And she points out the door.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are much in your debt. Come along, everyone, to Hengisbury.
Thank you.
So you travel out of the weirwood towards the small town of Hengisbury. You walk, it takes about maybe 30 or 40 minutes to walk out of the weirwood, and you do see this small town just on the edge of the river. Belton joins you on the way out, takes the horse and says, I'm okay to travel with you folks, but this is really your bag now, I would think. I could do one last thing for you here. I got a relative who runs a local boarding house in Hengisbury. You'll see when we get there. It's not a bad place. I kind of like it. So you walk into town. Your memories of Hengisbury, you see the town is essentially the same and nothing has changed. A couple people look in your direction, sort of arching their eyebrows as the 4 of you walk into town. And Belton guides you through the streets of Hengisbury to a small boarding house, an inn, which is sort of a tidy looking building with a freshly painted and somewhat memorable looking sign. It looks like a plump red chicken perched on the back of a young horse. Belton walks up to the door and thumps on the door, calls out, Myco, got company for you. And it's not long before a neatly dressed halfling in a chicken embroidered waistcoat.
Oh, come on.
Chicken embroidered waistcoat.
He's got a chicken theme. He's got a chicken riding a horse out front.
I love it.
Chicken night.
It's a whole motif.
Yes, flings open the door and sees Belton and wraps him in a rib-crushing hug and then begins to look you up and down. Belton says, they're a bit worse for wear, but hey, they are who they are. And Myco, as he is so called, looks at the 4 of you and says, ha ha, cousin, if they're friends of yours, then they're friends of mine. Myco offers his hand and says, hey, I'm Myco Ferris, owner of this little place. Not quite as fancy as the Bleeding Heart, but more than a mite quieter. Who are the 4 of you?
Oh, I'm Violet. Very nice to meet you. I love your waistcoat.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Are we using our real names here?
Oh,
Gwyven sticks out his hand and says, "Hello, Gwyven. Gwyven with Dumas," and just sticks it out and shakes his hand.
Talingbet says, I guess we are.
My fingers flutter to my sinuses, and I close my eyes for a moment, and I say, right. Mercury. Charming place that you have here. I'm sure it'll serve very well. Belton, a moment.
Okay. Comes over to you.
You've been a real friend to us, Belton, at great personal risk to yourself. And let it not be said that Mercury does not remember his friends. And I will give Belton the potion of healing that I stole from Dr. Tinbellow,
Nice.
just to make sure that leg finishes healing properly.
Belton takes it and says, "That's very kind of you. Thank you."
It's the least you deserve for all that you've done for us.
Well, I don't know what to say.
You needn't say anything. Just stay safe on your way back home.
Yeah, Northminster is not the place for me at this point. Things got to blow over there. I hear there's a thing going on over in Blackford. I might pick up there. We'll see.
This Maiko? Anything we should know about him?
Oh, no, he's a good person. He's my cousin, so, you can trust him. I mean, he owns this place at the Hen and Philly. It's not a bad place, actually. He kind of got the chicken thing going on. It's a weird, obsession, but it's
Sure.
fine. It's totally fine.
No judgments.
Here's the one thing I will tell you. He just loves to tell stories forever and ever and ever. If he starts to tell you a story, just close your eyes and pretend you're in a different place. Just wait it out.
Perhaps we'd better make our way inside and then see about getting our collective lock opened, as Granny Appleseed said.
Enjoy Hengisbury.
Gwyven's already going in. He's looking for a chair and a beer, and he's just going to relax.
Maiko sort of grabs you by the shoulder. He says, welcome to the Hen and Philly. Since you know my cousin, I will give the four of you a discounted weekly rate.
Maiko, do you mind if I ask you what might seem to be a rather strange question?
Sure, shoot.
Do you recognize any of us? Have you seen any of us before?
Stares at the four of you.
Gwyven points to himself and nods.
I should know you? I don't recognize any of you.
Ah, interesting.
Well, that's nice.
Should I know you?
No reason.
Matt, we didn't see any wanted posters for us on the way in, did we?
No, you did not. I mean, you guys can stay until the summer festival, and it's kind of fun, I'll be honest. There's all kinds of places here in town. You say you've been here before, so you should know your way around.
Yes, but it was a while ago, and sometimes, I've been so many places in between that it gets a little foggy.
I completely understand one town looks as much like the other, right?
In a way.
Clearly, the summer festival, 3 days from now, so, spend as much time as you'd like. Summer festival is really the most amazing thing that you're going to find all season. Then there's kind of lesser places, the Bleeding Heart Tavern, fucking Pemberton's. Ugh, I hate them. There's Penner's Pig Farm, Roris's Forge, one of the best smiths in the area, gotta be perfectly honest with you. Well, of course, the one place in town that nobody seems to ever forget is Hengisbury Keep, home to Lord and Lady Pemberton, one of the finest buildings in the area, and the market, which, most people find the center of commerce and society in Hengisbury.
Splendid.
If you want to go down to the river, the Moor Run River, there's some fisher folk down there as well. And of course, the center of all of our old members of society who seem to remember Hengisbury, the old temple. It's kind of run down now. We mostly use it as a town hall. Lady Sybil Pemberton occasionally uses it to deliver magical aid.
I close my eyes and pretend I'm somewhere else.
I actually am writing down every point of interest.
He says just a couple more places. There's the sheriff's office, Brand Torek. Well, I mean, he keeps law and order around here. He's a good guy. And then there's Circus Solo's tower is kind of neat. He's kind of the local wizard around here. He's just outside of Hengisbury, lives on his own little island and downstream in the middle of the Moor Run River. I mean, I guess that's it. And occasionally the trading post pops up every Saturday for things on offer for low prices. That's the town in a nutshell.
A variety of nuts to crack.
Normally, a week's lodging costs 16 silver, but I'm going to give you half price, 8 silver apiece.
That's very
8
kind.
silver for a week. That's very kind.
Absolutely.
Hand over 8 silver.
Listen, it doesn't include food and drink.
When he says it doesn't include food and drink, is food and drink available here? It just costs extra?
Yeah, he says no. Unfortunately, he doesn't supply any kind of food or drink.
Well, thank you so much, Micah. I think my friends and I have a little bit to discuss.
Sure thing.
Here's the thing. We are in the interesting position of having to make inquiries after ourselves and our own activities. And the difficulty with that in my case is I often take quite a bit of trouble to make sure that my activities aren't tracked and observed very well.
Perhaps we should just walk around and see the sights, and that might jog a little something.
Yes, there were a number of points of interest. I think he mentioned a wizard's tower and also an old temple.
And a smithy.
Those do seem to be places that, were I in town for a long weekend, I might have visited.
Gwyven would have definitely gone to the smithy.
So maybe we should start there. What time of day is it now, Matt? Does it make sense to start doing that now, or should we, this is the end of the day, after a long day of pie eating and passing out?
So I would say it's probably late afternoon, early evening.
Well, maybe we can hit one place before we turn in.
On the way here, could I have attuned to that earring?
Absolutely. In fact, both of you, if you chose to attune to your special gifts, can have done so.
A quick run to the forge before dark, Gwyven?
Sounds good. And if anyone's talking about me, well, we'll know.
I'm sure they will. You're famous.
My thoughts exactly.
And you walk down the street, you see that there's obviously a lot of sort of dark gray and black smoke coming from one building specifically. You see that in front of the forge, which is sort of an open building, you see a large man, probably in his early 40s, wide of girth, grizzled in appearance, and has this sort of very serious look on his face. And you just hear the clanging of hammers.
Gwyven's going to walk right up to him, and he's going to say, "Hello!"
Looks in your direction. He says, Yes?
Haven't we met?
Who are you?
Gwyven, he actually has a special ability called Trademark. And when he's in a city or town and has access to a fully stocked workshop, he can basically ply his trade and craft things and use things. So if he's been here before, he would have come here and he would have crafted something or worked on something. Or at least met the smith. And he will sit there. He almost seems to get lost in working with the smith's tools and working on his sword and sharpening his sword.
Are any of the other locations that Maiko mentioned, in close proximity to the forge?
All of them are sort of nestled in a concentric circle around the center of town where the old temple lies. Yeah, so the Hen and Filly is in the first concentric circle. The Bleeding Heart Tavern is in that first ring as well. The forge, the market.
Okay. I'd like to head over to the market.
Gwyven's going to stay here, and he's going to suggest, we should meet up at the tavern later.
Bleeding Heart?
But as fascinating as this is, I would love to go for a bit of a walk. I will accompany Mercury.
Talingbet says, I'm not so keen on the market. I think I might head over to the old temple. I'll find you guys, I guess, back at the Bleeding Heart for dinner, I guess. See you there.
All right, so Violet and I will head over to the market.
Bustling with people even at this time of day. What you did not notice is that a figure dressed in a very familiar black cloak watching the two of you. This figure takes a rock from the depths of a pocket somewhere on his person and speaks into it. They're here.
Oh, boy.
Hi, everybody. The show will be back shortly for the second half. First, it's time to tell you how you can give the gift of Dungeons & Dragons this holiday season. Right now, you can book a 3 to 4 hour one-shot online adventure for 3 to 7 players with one of our amazing dungeon masters for just $60. I can't think of a better holiday gift than friendship, fun, killing monsters, finding treasure, and saving the day. If there's somebody in your life who would enjoy an adventure, you can book it now by emailing us at info@cast-party.com before January 1st. Mention Holiday One Shot in the subject line. You can also buy this gift for yourself, of course. We won't judge. If you're a new listener and you're enjoying this adventure, you should also check out Podcast Party Descent into Avernus, as Dungeon Master Matt Gordon leads us to hell and, hopefully, back in a quest to save the stolen city of Elturel from eternal damnation. We have almost 2 years of episodes available now, and new episodes come out right in this feed every other Monday. Check us out at cast-party.com and follow us on Facebook at CastPartyDND, on Twitter at CastParty2, on Instagram at cast_party, or on TikTok at cast_party. As always, we're offering monthly free online adventures with our Dungeon Masters. These free games fill up quickly, so if you would like to grab a spot, you should join our email list or our Discord server. Links to both can be found at cast-party.com. You can watch episodes of Podcast Party on YouTube, complete with artwork, battle maps, character portraits, and even a little bit of animation. You can also catch episodes of our monthly chat show, Power Word Talk, on our YouTube channel as well. Check the show notes for the link or visit cast-party.com. Finally, just a reminder that in the December episode of Power Word Talk, we'll be discussing Year 2 of Podcast Party Descent into Avernus and answering listener questions. If you have a question you'd like answered on that show, you can email it to info@cast-party.com. You can also ask questions about this show, Podcast Party Memories of Holdenshire. Either way, the last day to submit questions for us to answer on the show is December 13th. If you enjoy Podcast Party, please follow the show, rate us, and leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you. Message us on social media or email us at info@cast-party.com. Follow us on Facebook at CastPartyDND, on Twitter at CastParty2, on Instagram at cast_party, or on TikTok at cast_party. Thanks very much for listening, and now back to our adventure in the Weirwood.
Talingbet has walked away from the group and has gone to the old temple. Now, you were all told that the old temple is in the center of the town. It was actually once a temple to the goddesses of agriculture and hunting. So, actually, kind of the perfect place for Talingbet. You see that it is actually no longer a temple at all. It's more like a town hall. There are people in a variety of different types of garments walking in and out. Some are wearing robes, some are wearing common or street clothes. A couple are wearing swords, shields, and the like. A couple of them seem to be waiting outside of the old temple, talking amongst themselves as you approach Talingbet.
Talingbet wanders over, taking in the area, and is still kind of out of his element here. So he kind of lingers around the edges of the people who are outside, kind of just trying to overhear conversations and see if he can get a little bit of a read for what sort of a place this is now, since it is clearly no longer being used as a temple, and what he should expect if he approaches and tries to go inside.
A portly woman with her hair drawn up in a bun is talking, and she's saying, "I don't know. It's just such a trial." And the person who she's talking to, an older man, sort of salt and pepper hair, a very stylized mustache, looks down at her and says, "Ariel, I told you, when you choose the life of a druid, oftentimes things will get very hard. I mean, not everyone's going to come calling for supplies all the time." And then the woman turns and notices you, Talingbet, and says, hello again.
Talingbet does his best to look nonchalant, although he's clearly quite a bit out of his element here. Hello. Good to see you again.
They both nod at you. Yes. Were you ever able to find that calendula that I asked about?
The calendula, Talingbet rifles through his pockets real quick, trying to see if he has any.
You do not have a calendula. A calendula is a flower. It's a plant, a special kind of plant.
It's calendula.
Gosh darn it! I always pronounce these things wrong.
It's okay.
I like the way Matt says it.
Maybe in Dungeons and Dragons it's pronounced differently.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's fantasy.
Exactly.
It's fantasy calendula.
Yeah, the calendula was roiling down the street.
But Talingbet rifles through his pockets to see if he happens to have any calendula, and upon realizing that he does not, he meets the man's eye and says, alas, I have not yet succeeded in finding that.
Such a shame. I hope that you feel better after the last time. How long has it been? And he looks down at the woman who he's been talking to this whole time. And she says, oh, I don't know. I think it's been about a month. What have you been doing this whole time?
Talingbet gives a heavy sigh and just says, actually, I was kind of hoping that you could help me answer that question. It has been a month or so, and he looks lost. And this giant, almost 300-pound dragonborn, he's very young, and he just looks very lost and kind of scared, and like he doesn't know what to do. And as they look at him, he looks like he's trying really hard not to just like cry a little bit. He has just had a time of things.
Aww.
These two look at each other and then look at you, and the woman puts her hand on your arm and says, oh, dearie, is everything all right?
No, nothing is all right.
Are you crying? Oh my goodness. Heinrich, get him inside. Get him inside.
Heinrich, this taller, older man with the curly mustache, sort of takes you by the arm and says, it'll be all right. Perhaps Lady Sybil will be able to help a bit. He looks completely uncomfortable with this right now and opens the door to the old temple. You see that it is a massive wooden space. The smell of pine assaults your nostrils. Everything is very fresh. Everything is very pungent. There are wooden chairs and tables placed all around, and there are people milling about to and fro, discussing things. They absolutely stop and stare at you as you come sort of weeping into the middle of this space.
Talingbet is doing his best to kind of like sniffle and keep a stiff upper lip and get a hold of himself. I'm sorry. It's just, it's been, I met these people and I don't even know where to begin. It has been a very, very troubling last few days, and I don't know what happened before that.
I'm sorry to hear that. This guy is just carting you to the front. At the front of this building, you see a very beautiful woman in probably her late middle age with her hair displayed elegantly. She's wearing very beautiful clothing, actually. She sort of turns at the sound of this commotion. She has brilliant blue eyes. She waves at the two of them that are bringing you to the front and says, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. Are you in need of healing?
I don't think so. I think I'm physically okay. It's just been a very bad couple of days. He gives a hefty sigh as he looks around and calms down just a little bit.
Yes, that's right. Take deep breaths. Yes, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. Yes, I do remember you. You are Talingbet, are you not?
Yes, that's my name.
I'm so glad to see you again. I hope you're not planning on falling out of any trees again. I told you I'd only fix that arm once if you were planning to be a fool about it. And she giggles a little bit.
I don't often climb trees.
She sort of looks to Ariel and Heinrich. Ariel sort of looks and shrugs at this woman who you have not yet been introduced to. Or if you have, you don't really remember her.
Talingbet just kind of looks down at his arms and, tries to see if he remembers, see if this story rings a bell at all as far as breaking arms, because being someone who has spent most of his life on the water, he really does not do very much climbing of trees.
In this case, the roll will be a wisdom-based roll, but I'll allow you to choose the skill that it is based upon.
In that case, for this, I would probably do an insight to see if there's anything would tend to remind him of anything about climbing trees or breaking his arm. And Talingbet has an 18 on that.
When you speak to this woman, you remember her now. This is Lady Sybil Pemberton. You remember that she is one of the two governors, so to speak. She shares the responsibilities with her husband, Lord Pemberton. And the entire village of Hengisbury and the hamlet of Thornbury nearby are actually governed by these two individuals. Lady Sybil Pemberton is actually a devout follower of the goddess of hunting and volunteers in the temple where you remember meeting her. And you do remember now that something occurred where you were in a tree doing something for some reason and fell and hurt yourself quite badly, requiring the aid of Lady Pemberton.
As these memories come flooding back to Talingbet, he kind of looks at his hands and his arms. Yes, it's a bit foggy, but I do appreciate that you helped me last time I was here. My arm is doing quite a bit better. I have not been climbing trees. Do you do you recall, did I tell you why I was climbing a tree in the first place?
Oh, no. You simply said that you were watching for something and perhaps something startled you, and then next thing you know, you fell out of the tree. But I was more than happy, and as I am now, of course, to give you any aid that you may need.
Well, do you happen to remember where I went after I got your aid last time, or was there anyone with me?
It was quite a while back, I must say. No, you were alone, I do remember that. I cannot remember, unfortunately, you telling me, or Ariel, or anyone else, to be honest.
Talingbet kind of looks over his shoulder at Ariel and Heinrich. Are they still lingering around?
You look back, you turn around, you see Heinrich and Ariel standing a little ways back, sort of talking quietly between the two of them.
He looks back to Lady Sybil and says, "Thank you for your kind words. As I said, it does now come back to me that I do remember you helping me with my arm. I think perhaps I just need maybe some fresh air. I'm sure I'll be all right."
The goddesses and all of the lords of light be with you. And she places a hand on your shoulder and says, "If you need anything, my husband and I are here for you. Please, take care."
You are very kind. Thank you very much. And Talingbet will turn and go back over to Ariel and Heinrich. And he kind of takes a deep breath, kind of just, calm himself a little bit. Well, I apologize for my abrupt arrival. I'm sure that I must have worried you just a little bit. It's been several weeks, and I don't remember a great deal of it. But Lady Sybil did have some helpful words for me. Tell me, what did you need that calendula for?
Oh, well, oftentimes I am called upon to do medicinal works, apothecary and all the like. We are facing, after all, quite a severe situation.
A situation?
Don't you remember?
My friend, this is the whole point.
To refresh you, as you all know, the forests nearby are home to a vicious tribe of kobold. Recently, they made several... how should I put it, Ariel? And the woman just looks at you and says,
"They make raids on the town every once in a while."
Oh my, that is troubling, yes.
"Yes, but no worries, we'll be prepared,
And the calendula is supposed to help with this?
"Pain relief,"
she says.
Oh yes. Well, I will see what I can do. I am generally pretty good at finding these sorts of things. Where can I find you should I happen to successfully gather some?
"Right here most days," she says. "Of course, we'll be preparing for the summer festival, and when is it? 2 days from now?"
"Are you staying for the festival?"
I mean, probably. I have no reason to not stay for the festival, and you know what? I think it would be good to take my mind off things a little bit.
Wonderful to hear. There are quite a lot of games and amusement.
I do like games. Talingbet just kind of takes a deep breath again, still looking like he is very disoriented and kind of out of his element, kind of lost. I'm going to go for a bit of a walk, get some fresh air, and I expect that I will still be here, and hopefully I will have some of that calendula for you by then.
Excellent. Glad to hear it.
"Ah, dearie, feel better?"
You've been wonderful. Thank you so much. And he looks, if a Dragonborn could look like he almost has tears of gratitude, that is the look on Talingbet's face. He gives her a little bit of a nod and then turns abruptly and walks off to try and go find the rest of his recent companions.
Gwyven, you've been at the forge for a while.
So Gwyven has just been hanging out, and he's been working at the forge, and mostly he's playing with making keys and locks and little bits of metal. The one thing he keeps doing over and over again is repeating his name. "I am Gwyven, and the greatest locksmith in all the world, Gwyven." And he's just repeating his name over and over again to see if the blacksmith has any sort of recognition of his name or looks suspicious or anything like that. Gwyven keeps complimenting him over and over again on his work and how impressed he is with it.
Oh, yeah, I saw that flattery roll. Looks like, I think the last time we checked, you got a natural 1. It could be why he's keeping his eye on you. In about an hour or two, a woman comes into the forge, and she has an apron on. Her hair is gray, and her face lined. And she looks at Roris and says, Roris, it's time. Let's go. We're going to close up soon. Roris says, Yulana, fine. Looks over at you. So we're going to be closing up soon. Got to listen to the wife and all. Are you quite done?
Almost done. Just a few more. Gwyven walks over to the woman and sticks his hand out and he goes, Gwyven.
She looks down at you and says, yes, I know who you are. Did you blunt that blade already? It wasn't a month ago I last sharpened it.
Yes, I dropped it. We've met. I forgot. I'm sorry.
Yes, Yulana Klein.
Does he remember her?
This is where you, as well, will need to make a wisdom check based on any one of the skills that you would like to use.
I think because we're talking about making things at the forge, he's going to use engineering. Oh, a 22.
The memory comes flooding back. You remember Yulana while, I guess, Roris was perhaps away, because you don't remember her husband being in the forge when you came to resharpen your short sword.
Oh, sorry.
Why would you do that to a sword? That's very disrespectful.
You gave me, how do you say this? Quite the tongue lashing. Yes, I won't do it again.
You hear from across the room, yeah, she's wont to do that. And then eyes. No words, just eyes. As I was saying, what's a man like you doing in Hengisbury?
Some friends of mine were coming here and I came along with them to maybe expand my business out in this area. Quite famous for making locks and keys.
Well, we're about to close up.
How are things been here?
Terrible.
Why?
These
Do tell.
incursions from the kobolds all the time. Guards are on every night, just in case the kobolds come again.
Why are they coming?
We don't know. They come in, they raided my friend's farm the other day. She said that they took a cow, that there were 4 of them, and they grabbed the cow, one by each leg, and then they ran off with the cow. I don't think that's how it works. I don't think that they're strong enough. No, but that's not true. Of course they did. Anyway, never mind my husband. He doesn't know his arse from his elbow. The kobolds, they're just a nuisance. But now, I don't know. Are we closing up or are we not closing up, Yulana? Of course, dear. We're closing up.
Gwyven will bid them goodbye and head off to where his friends were going, to the market.
As you work your way towards the market, you bump into Violet and Mercury, who are coming from the market.
Oh, hello, Gwyven.
Hello, Gwyven. Any luck?
No, I did not come up with anything really. Something about kobolds.
Kobolds?
Oh,
Yes, attacking the town.
Let's see if we can collect Talingbet first, and perhaps he's got something, a little bit more concrete for us to go on.
okay, sounds good.
Good.
So we would like to head for the old temple, Matt.
Coincidentally, Talingbet is leaving the old temple just as the 3 of you reach it. Talingbet has tears streaming down his face for some reason.
My goodness. Talingbet, my dear old chap, whatever is the matter?
Talingbet.
Well, it's just, it's just been a very difficult last few days, and it just...
Was it something Gwyven did?
When isn't it something that Gwyven did?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, it has been
I'm
tried.
Apologize.
It's true. I mean, I was devastated, to be honest, to learn that I've lost a full month. You can't imagine the sort of plates I'm spinning, and to know that someone stepped away and let them all smash to the ground for a month. I run my hands through my hair. It's more disastrous than I'd care to dwell on, actually, which is really why I'd like to get to the bottom of this.
I just hold out a little handkerchief up to Mercury and Talingbet. I have one in each hand.
Talingbet reaches out with a clawed finger and just very gingerly picks up the handkerchief and attempts to dab his nose and then tries to hand it back to Violet.
Yes, thank you for my handkerchief back. And I'll just fold it up and put
Covered
it
in dragonborn snot, yeah.
Yes,
Nice.
perhaps I'll have a look later.
It's just slight static shock when you touch it.
I was thinking that she could use it like as a spell component for something, but hey.
I will be researching it, yes.
Blue booger's great.
I'm slightly uncomfortable that you want to research my snot, but thank you, I guess.
We'll soon sort it all out, Talingbet. Have you had any luck at the temple?
Sort of. Apparently, I broke my arm, and then I came here, and we need to find some plants. We should go for a walk in the woods and find some plants. they need calendula because there's kobolds and kobolds are attacking people and it's not good, but they need some plants. And I can find plants. I'm good at that.
You seem to have had rather more luck with memories than we have.
If it's plants that we need to Talingbet, perhaps we should try the fields or the Moor Run River?
Do we know where that plant would be found?
Any of you could make a nature check if you'd like.
Talingbet has a whole 8.
Gwyven actually rolled a 21.
Wow.
I don't know why he would know this, but he apparently does. Maybe he hits his finger a lot with his hammer, so he needs the thing, the painkiller thing.
You know that this flower, it kind of looks like an orange, like a marigold. That's probably the closest thing to it. It looks like a marigold. You could find it in the forest. You may be able to find it by the riverbank, and you don't think that you would be able to find it in the fields.
I think we should look for this flower in the forest with the kobolds.
Sounds dangerous.
I mean, I rolled pretty well. Do I think I can actually find it by the river? Because it would make sense to go to the safer place than the more dangerous
Yeah, like
place.
I said, you can find it by the forest or by the river and not by the fields.
All right, so then maybe we should head off to the river and look for the flower.
I do like rivers. Yes, let's go to the river.
The walk to the river is a pleasant one. It's a sort of a nice, gentle slope down to the riverbank. You do see that it seems a pretty popular spot even here at dusk. There are local fisherfolk who are reeling in their catches from the day and are slowly starting to close up. One of them is a young human. She probably is no more than 19 or 20. Looks pretty rugged and certainly minding her own business. She's sort of like coiling up a whole bunch of rope.
Does anything about this river feel familiar to Talingbet?
I would say no. You don't have to make a roll.
Talingbet kind of looks over his shoulder at the rest of the group and says, I am going to go talk to that human. And then he does so after announcing his intentions.
I'll accompany Talingbet.
He walks over to her.
You walk up to this young human. She stops coiling her rope.
Hello.
She sort of like comes up to you in a little bit of a rush, and she puts her arms around you and gives you a hug.
You know what? Talingbet just hugs her back and gives this like heartfelt sigh at somebody just finally giving this or dragonborn a hug.
She grabs you in a tight hug, her arms strong, probably from who knows how many years of working on the river, and she says, I never got a chance to say goodbye. I never got a chance to say thank you.
Oh, well, you're welcome. And also, do you need a hand bringing the rest of that rope in and getting everything settled for the night?
No. She sort of looks strangely up at you.
But, all right, of course. Not implying that you're not perfectly capable of doing all of these things yourself.
Why are you talking so strangely to me?
It's been a very strange month.
She looks down at the deck. She says,
Has it been that long? Oh my. Well, hopefully you won't stay away that long next time.
Right. Well, and Talingbet kind of looks over his shoulder at his companions, clearly, once again, rather out of his element, and a little bit lost, and says, are you going to the summer festival?
Oh, yes, of course I am.
Good. Then I will probably see you there.
You've been talking with her long enough. I'd like you to, as before, do a recollection, some kind of a check based on wisdom to see if you remember who this person is and what involvement, if any, that you've had with her. You've already gotten 1, so this would be number 2.
Yeah, I think that I am going to roll perhaps a culture check with the nature of our interaction. An 8.
You do not know this person, you do not know her name, and you do not know anything or why she's even thanking you.
Well, after having told her that he will probably see her at the summer festival, Talingbet turns and comes back to the rest of his companions and just, he still looks very lost. He gives them a bit of a shrug and says, I have no idea who that woman is.
Oh, but there was a deal of hugging.
There was. It was a rather nice hug.
Oh. Don't know who that is, though?
Not at present, and he kind of scratches his head. Although I'm starting to suspect that perhaps we were maybe romantically involved. I don't know. Did it look like the kind of hug that one gets when one is romantically involved?
I've actually been standing next to this person the whole time. I just didn't want to interrupt the intimacy between Talingbet and them.
Very kind of you.
Well, yeah, once Talingbet steps away to speak to the others, I sort of look wistfully after Talingbet, and I say, the affairs of the heart, so tender, so fragile, yet so beautiful, don't you think?
She's sort of like looking at Talingbet, and she says, I'm sorry, what?
I have a sweetheart of my own I'm hoping to impress with the summer festival. She's very fond of a particular flower. It looks rather like a marigold. I'm afraid I'm no dab hand at matters of the natural world myself, but I wonder if you've seen something like this. I describe the flower that Talingbet's looking for.
She smiles and says, are you with him?
Oh, no. We're just friends.
Oh, you're friends?
We're friends.
Okay.
Yes, we're friends.
I see. Well, she sort of saunters over to you and says, I'm going to tell you a secret. Your friend is a real hero. She sighs.
Believe me, you don't need to tell me. I've seen some real heroics, but go on. I'm always happy to hear good things about my friends.
Well, the last time he was here, I lost my bouquet of calendula in the current, and he dove in and swam and grabbed it. That current was really, really strong. And then he swam back against the current with the wreath of calendula, and she pulls from her back pouch this sort of somewhat soggy, somewhat withered-looking bunch of calendula that probably at one point in time was in a circle, and she sort of displays it, and she says, I mean, it's all that's left, but still, his heart was in the right place.
What a beautiful story. Do you think you might share a few pieces of that calendula with me, and then I could bring it to Talingbet as sort of a shared memento of the experience? You know how he was the champion who recovered them from the river, and now you've got some and he's got some.
Make a persuasion roll.
A 9.
She looks up at you and she pulls the clump of calendula back towards her chest, and she says, but then I'll have nothing whole to remember him by. I'm sorry, I know you're his friend, but...
Well, I didn't mean you should give something for nothing. I happen to have a love letter here. I rummage around in my bag now. It's
Oh my god.
so
Oh my
good.
god.
So good. It's like it was written for this.
yeah, it's unsigned because a certain someone is rather shy, but I think we both know who
Oh
composed
my
this.
god.
This is amazing.
It's got his claw prints all over it. This will take the place of the calendula in your little ring. We just tuck this letter right in there, and I'll just slip a few flowers out, and it'll be like it was never disturbed. What do you think?
I would love nothing more. And then she, just takes a little bit of the calendula flower, a couple of heads of calendula, and gingerly gives them to you, and then just takes this love letter that you have produced and begins to read it. And her eyes begin to well with tears.
Oh my goodness.
That's all right. No, let it all out. It does touch the heart directly. And several other parts as well.
Yes. Oh, wow. Okay. That's fine. It's fine. It's like that.
Natural.
I'll just convey this over to our friend Talingbet. Thank you so much, man.
Oh, thank you.
Bring the flowers over to Talingbet.
You found the calendula.
I found more than marigolds in the river, Talingbet. I may have found one of your memories. I will give Talingbet the calendula, and I say these came from a very special ring of calendula. Perhaps you might remember, and I will describe the story as it was told to me about Talingbet diving into the river to save the bouquet.
Amazing. So in doing so, Mercury, you've actually gone ahead and in Talingbet's place produced one of the 3 memories that is needed for him to actually sort of complete this section of the adventure. So that's a success on Talingbet. So that's 2 successes, and I think, Gwyven, you had one from the forge as well. Talingbet, when you look down at this wreath of calendula's, remains, I should say, you do remember now speaking to this girl who you remember her name now. Her name is Ariadne. And you remember speaking with her over the course of a few days, and you and she got friendly. She would talk to you about her time working with the dock workers and the fisher folk, and that she's actually the niece of Brand Torek, who is the sheriff here in town. she's young. She wants to make her own life, and so she's decided that her life is going to be working amongst the fisher people. And so she was interested to know about your life, and up until that point, things get a little hazy right about there, but then there was a rather strong windstorm, and this garland of calendula flowers that you had picked for her went flying into the wind and into the river. Immediately, without a second thought, you dove into the river, swimming first with the current and then against it, and then producing this garland to her. And that is where your memory fades.
And I finish, and so you've been terrified of frogs ever since.
Talingbet just looks at you and goes, what do you mean? Frogs are delicious.
Sorry, couldn't resist.
A lovely story.
He looks back at Violet once again and says, but I'm still trying to figure out, is that the sort of hug that one gets when one is involved? Like, this is a beautiful story, and clearly things went very well between us, but, like, I have concerns.
Well, I mean, she is rather staring at you right now.
He looks over his shoulder in a way that he thinks is totally nonchalant, but totally is not subtle at all. And
yeah, Ariadne's sort of coiling that rope, looking at you the whole time.
and Talingbet looks back, just like, do I have a girlfriend?
Well, I think it's possible. I think you could if you wanted.
Perhaps you could ask her to accompany you to the summer fair.
There's games where you throw things.
Oh.
And, well, the people I talked to earlier thought maybe I would be good at it, so perhaps I will impress her with great feats of strength as I throw things.
Okay.
Talingbet nods as though he thinks this is the best plan.
Well, I'll certainly be rooting for you. Are we done here, or...?
People seem to have completely left this place. The only thing that's left really is Ariadne, who is almost done, and all the rest of the boat tenders and fisherfolk have left.
I mean, we've got some flowers, and we've opened up Talingbet's brain. I think that's the most we could have hoped for out of this river.
I'm rather still in the dark about anything that I might have been doing, so I was hoping to ask around or something.
Speaking of dark, it does seem to be getting quite dark now that night is coming on apace. There are other places that are open, of course, at this time of day.
Yes, I recall we were just trying to make a visit or two before nightfall.
Well, I know what I was doing before a month ago, and that was research into different manners of reanimating the body, you might say, breathing life back into it. So I guess I probably would have wanted to go see somebody who's involved in that sort of thing. So,
Well, there is a local mage, Circus Solo. He's got a tower on a small island all on its own in the middle of the moor run. I sort of look out on the river since we're here, see if we see a island with a tower.
Yeah, in the fading light of the setting sun, you were able to see a relatively small tower that it was a few hundred feet from your position. It does seem that there's a dock on that island, and there is a single solitary light at the top of the tower.
Have any of the fisher folk left their boats tied here?
Yes.
oh yes, that tower looks right up my street.
Violet, if you like, we could borrow a fishing boat and have a paddle over there.
I would love to. Is that all right with everyone?
Well, anyone object?
No.
Are all the fishers well and truly gone, or is there somebody just going to watch and be like, get the fuck out of my boat?
Nope. As you guys have been talking, Ariadne has left.
Looking ahead a little bit, Violet, I'd like to give you a bit of an extra chance to perhaps recall something in speaking with this wizard.
Oh.
And I will touch, if you'll permit me, I sort of hold up my finger like I want to touch her forehead.
I'll stretch my head up, stretch my neck.
Yeah, I touch her forehead with my ring finger, and I will give her unfickle fate. Mercury touches a willing creature and grants it a premonition, which it remembers for 1 hour, or until it uses the premonition to re-roll one ability check, attack roll, or saving throw. So basically, it's one free re-roll that you have to use within the next hour.
Thank you. Off we go then.
So you guys untether the boat, taking oars perhaps from that boat, and using the tiller, make your way downstream to this tower. The tower's large. It seems like it's in pretty decent shape. It doesn't seem to be in disrepair. well tended, clean, a couple pieces of moss here and there. It doesn't seem too old, but you do see that there's a single door at the base.
Does any of this look familiar to me? Not ringing a bell?
You could make a history check.
I would think all of us would be looking at this thing going,
Yeah, you could.
we've been here before?
I would say, actually, technically, in Violet's case, she could make it with advantage.
Okay, I got 2 14s.
Something's blocking your memory of this place. You're not quite sure what it is. It's like a bad case of deja vu, but you're not quite sure what it is.
Can't quite place it. Maybe when I see the inside.
Gwyven rolled a 17 trying to remember this place.
You remember it briefly, but the only thing that is different from your recollection versus Violet's is that you remember seeing someone come out of this tower. It was kind of like this big, burly, bearded guy, and he was talking to some pixie. I mean, she looked like this sort of small winged fairy person. You could assume, based on your knowledge of arcane creatures, that this was some kind of a pixie. But then that memory fades from view.
Gwyven will tell his friends.
Oh, that is interesting. I've been wondering if they really have dust. You know, I've heard about pixie dust, but I don't know if they really have that, or if that's just something silly that people say. I might have been curious about that and gone to ask that question. Knock, knock, knock?
You tap on the door. You wait 30 seconds. A minute. No response. There is still that light at the top of the tower.
He's a wizard. Perhaps something magical might get his attention.
Yes, I'm thinking about that. I don't know if I have anything that will cause a ruckus.
I do have thaumaturgy. How high is the tower window that's lit?
It's about 40 feet tall.
What sort of window? Like, is it a glass window? Is it like mullioned? Like, what am I looking at here?
It's just an open half moon, completely open to the night.
So are there shutters, or it's just like it's a hole?
It's just a hole in the tower.
I cup my hands to my mouth and I will thaumaturgy my voice to be really loud and just call up to the window. Master Circus Solo! Circus Solo! Circus Solo! May we have an audience!
About 10 seconds pass, and then a figure approaches the window and places his hands on the outside of the window, looks down at you. This figure is bald. He has a voluminous beard. It's black as night. He's wearing a brilliant purple robe that glitters with some kind of strange arcane runes as he sort of stares down at you. And his eyes are humongous. The best way of describing him is literally the sorcerer from the Sorcerer's Apprentice. And he just looks down at you all and says, "What sort of audience do you wish to have with the great Circus Solo?"
I'm going to take a shot at this. I light a produce flame in my hand so he can maybe see us a little better. And I say, wonderful news, Master Circus Solo. Violet has returned, just as she said she would. I gesture down to Violet.
Hello!
His eyes sort of glow and stare down. You sort of like see these like almost like a headlamp like coming out of his eyes and just focus directly on Violet. And he says, "You're that mage that wanted to peek at my library, aren't you?"
Oh, well, it would be an honor, sir.
Well, are you actually going to stay this time, or do you plan to disappear again?
I'll do my best to stay, if you would be so kind as to permit us entrance.
Make a persuasion check with advantage, Violet.
Okay, I rolled a 19.
Well, so you say. And he snaps his fingers, and the sound of the snap is immensely loud. It just sort of like echoes around the entire tower, and the door open.
I clap my hands in appreciation. Well done. What a trick. I mean, what a spell.
Yes, they don't like it when you say trick.
Yes. What a spell. I've learned from reading my spell that I can clap my hands through my produce flame because I can't burn myself with it. So I just clap my hand even though my hand is on fire.
I will walk in and look around and see if I'm remembering anything.
The interior of the tower is much worse than the exterior of the tower in terms of its condition. And you see that there's sort of moss, there's a dank smell, unfortunately. There's a set of spiral stairs that goes up the interior of the tower. There's a bearskin rug, which is all sort of unfortunately decayed. The face is kind of half collapsed. There is a broom sweeping itself on the floor of this particular tower, and it's just sweeping dust. And you hear from the top of the tower, "Well, are you coming up or not?"
Yes, short legs, I'm coming. Be right there.
Yeah, I'm gonna head up there.
Takes you a few minutes to get up to the top. When you emerge at the top of the tower, you see a splendor. Is splendorific a word? I think it is. Splendiferous library. Just books and books and books circling the entire interior of the top of this tower, as befits any kind of wizard of note. A set of alchemical instruments and bottles and all that kind of stuff. A very large table. Behind it, you see a overstuffed chair. On this table, there are skulls of all kinds, human skulls, perhaps a small dragon skull. And sitting in this chair is the mage himself, Circus Solo.
Good evening, sir. It is a delight to be back here once again. I apologize for my abrupt exit last time.
Grumbles.
Well, you are an incredibly well-respected mage, and so I'm just going to cut to the chase, shall I? It appears that I am under some sort of enchantment, and I was wondering if I might impose upon you to discuss it with me and perhaps help me out a little bit.
Enchantment?
I believe it is one, sir, yes. Well, I came here to see you, apparently, and, then a month went by and I don't remember anything, and when I came to, I was in the catacombs of a rather large church. There was a calcoy on the floor. I learned that it was a calcoy. It was rather bracing. And you see, I don't know what has happened since, so I was hoping that maybe if I spoke to you about maybe what we spoke about here, or maybe what books I looked at, it would help jog my memory, so to speak.
Terrible situation you find yourself in, I see.
Sorry to impose.
Not at all, not at all. I don't often entertain guests, but in your case I'll make an exception.
Oh.
Well, take your pick.
And he points at the bookshelves that line his tower. He says,
From what I remember last, you were reading this one.
And he snaps his fingers and a book levitates off the shelf and lands gently on his table.
Okay, I look at the book. What is it?
It's a black leather book. It has silver clasps in the middle. And the front of the book, there is no title. It just has a silver skull with glowing green eyes set in the middle of the cover.
Yes, come to Mama.
He says, Are you sure you wish to read this book? It's quite a read.
Is it cursed?
Well, I never chanced to open it to find out.
Well, desperate times.
I'm just gonna. Do I think it's cursed? If I look at it, do I have a feeling one way or the other?
You can make an Arcana check.
Okay.
This will be actually kind of important Arcana check.
So I would like to use my forbidden knowledge expertise. That is a 20.
You know this book, most likely, it is cursed to the unpracticed user of necromancy. That those with a great degree of knowledge would find a way of circumventing the curses in this book. But perhaps just a peek wouldn't hurt.
Yes, I don't think I can keep myself from doing it. I have to give it a try. I did come all this way, so I will give a wink and open the book.
Who's with Violet at this point? Are you all sort of with her at the top floor?
Talingbet would have followed along, kind of protecting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're standing there.
Would any of you want to try to stop her, or we just...
Violet,
Yes?
are you quite sure that the book is safe?
I wouldn't call it safe necessarily, but I think I could take a peek.
I could try to identify it for you. That perhaps might reveal some more specifics about the sort of risks involved in reading it.
If you wouldn't mind, that would be fine.
Certainly. Let's just close it for a moment, shall we? Just pat the cover down there, nice and closed. I will press
It takes a little bit of, like, you need to really try to close it because I really want to open it.
Yes, just pull this out of your hands, and I will just touch the cover of the book with my 5 fingertips, and I will go ahead and cast Identify, and I will burn a spell slot on that so we don't have to wait 10 minutes for me to...
Superb. The title of this book is Necromancy and You. It is literally a how-to on how to create an undead army. Zombies, their feeding schedules and armoring, skeletons, how to keep them from falling apart, all the way up to how to deal with annoying liches who won't give up the location of their phylacteries.
Wonderful. Pretty straightforward stuff, I'd say.
There's a lot in here about raising an army of the dead, I'm going to be honest. I mean, it does seem to be up your street. I can't deny that.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Good, it's decided then. And then I'll just grab...
Yeah, Matt, I would learn... Okay, I don't know if this would help, but I would learn whether any spells are affecting the item and what they are.
The good news is that you do find out that there are some spells that have been cast upon it but have since been dispelled. At this point in time, there are no spells that are on it.
Yay.
Certainly, I release it.
Thank you. Thank you.
I feel I've done all I can.
You unclasp the silver clasp at the side of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy your Necronomicon.
Can Gwyven step back from this?
Better, Gwyven.
I don't like it. Is there a balcony or something he can go out on? Like he just wants to get away from this. It's just weird to him.
Yeah, Talingbet doesn't really know enough to be concerned here. He's fine.
Yeah, it's a
fine.
book.
It's just a book.
Yeah.
The book opens. As it does so, the green eyes of this silver skull light up, and the mouth of the skull opens with this sort of intake of breath.
Oh, that's a nice touch.
The book opens by itself and sort of like the pages flap back and forth and land at a page. You notice that the pages are all written in a red ink.
Oh, yes.
The runes that are describing a variety of spells. The only problem with Identify is that it doesn't detect curses.
This seems totally fine so far.
Violet,
Yes?
make a wisdom saving throw.
That is a natural 20 for a 22.
Oh,
Nice.
The power of necromancy is with you, Violet.
Yes.
You watch as Violet's hair starts floating behind her. Her hood comes off the back of her head, and she's just
fine.
she's standing there. Her eyes glow that sort of like light shade of green. Her smile gets perhaps a little bit too wide, and maybe just like a little giggle comes out of her throat. Mort the mouse sort of comes out from hearing this and sort of like positions itself on your shoulder and rubs its little hands together, and it makes little squeaking noises. Its ear falls off, and then it sort of grabs it as it falls off and sort of tries to put it back on. You are completely lost in this book, but you are unaffected by whatever evil magics are infused into this book with a natural 20 on your wisdom save.
Wow.
Yes, it's wonderful.
And the good news is that you get a memory back. You recall being in this wizard's tower a month ago. Circus Solo is rarely seen, but in your case, he definitely made an exception because he knew that you were a connoisseur of the fine arcane arts, and proving yourself to him in a challenge of magic that he posed to you.
Oh.
A great magical riddle that he put into your mind, which you were able to solve. And so he let you into his tower, and you were there studying his books for perhaps an hour or two when you noticed some kind of event was occurring in the town. You put the book down and left it, excused yourself, and let yourself out of the tower.
I don't remember what the fuss was.
Not at this point, no. You can consider this a success, one of the 3 successes in gaining your memories back.
That's wonderful. Would we say that I could get inspiration because I have made an arcane, scholastic, or scientific discovery by reading this book?
Carrie, that's why I love you, because you read your character sheet. Absolutely.
Yay!
Indeed you can.
Okay, I guess I just so I close the book. My hair just sort of like settles back down, and I become more normal. I pick up Mort's little ear from his hand. He holds it out to me, I guess, and I just go, Risaccio, and I put his ear back on, and I just look around and I'm like, "What? That worked?"
I don't think that's how books are supposed to work.
It is how my books tend to work. Would you like to see it?
No,
I'm
thank you.
I'm good.
No.
I'm good. I'm good.
No.
But I'm glad you enjoyed your read.
Yes. Well, it did jog something in my memory, which was that I was here reading, and something was going on in the town, and it was sufficiently disturbing to me where I left this tower and went to go look at it. I don't know, it isn't much, but it's something. So thank you.
Think nothing of it.
This is an incredible book. When I have time, I would love to come back and speak with you further about this. I think we could
Certainly.
make some tremendous discoveries. I thank you again.
I'll be sure to put that book in a very special place in my secret library where no one ever can get their hands up on it.
Mercury, is there somewhere you would like to go?
Well, it is getting rather late. We've had quite a massive day. Perhaps it's best that we return to the tavern.
Yes, a sleep would be nice.
Can Gwyven, while this is all going on, he's going to look around to see if there's like a little sprite or fairy or pixie or whatever around. Does he notice anything like that?
I'm not going to ask you to make a roll for it. I mean, the space is pretty small. Unless she's hiding extremely well, you don't notice one. So you guys get back in the boat, and you all make your way back to the Hen and Philly, and I would say get a well-earned long rest.
Yay! Marvelous.
Thanks for listening. This episode featured the Dungeon Master stylings of Matt Gordon, with Andy Cannistra as Gwyven, Carolyn Fox as Violet, Rachel Savicki as Talingbet, and me, Tal Aviezer, as Mercury. This episode was edited by Carolyn Fox and me. Our original theme music is by Lauren Anker and Anthony DiMasso. Remember, if you enjoy Podcast Party, please follow the show, rate us, and leave us a review. Thanks very much for listening. We'll be back in 1 week with the next episode of Descent into Avernus, and in 2 weeks with the next episode of Memories of Holdenshire.
I'm sorry, did I say pantry? I meant to say in the living room of Granny Appleseed.
Hanging upside down in the larder.
Skinless.